Hey Sainers, welcome to Saints TV. It's round 19. Sorry, my announcement of the teams is a bit late. I was just driving home, so there was a bit of traffic. But I just saw the teams and I thought, there wasn't any point in posting a separate post about the teams. I thought we'd just do a chat and use the teams as kind of the catalyst for the preview to discuss. So we'll start off with the lineup and basically the ins for this weekend. Nathan Brown comes back into defence. Jack Loney comes back, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Didn't think Jack Loney would be in the team this week. Blake Acres is the big one. So Blake Acres comes back straight into the midfield, which is really important. I thought last week was going to be the week that he'd come back, but he's coming back to face a very ominous GWS midfield. So excited to have him back and see what he can add to our forward line, and obviously going into the midfield battles, how he can help our team there and not leave it to just the Seb Ross and Jack Stevens every week. He can come in and do a job. And lastly, a guy that we haven't really seen for a long time, Nick Caulfield. Caulfield's back, which is really exciting. I'm happy to see him, and I had a feeling he'd be in. He's had a stint in Sandy. He's doing well there, and he was obviously very calm, very positive at AFL level. So I'm pretty excited to see him back in the team. The outs, let's talk about the outs. So Ed Phillips is out, which I kind of thought was coming. He had a few decent games, but he seems to be petering away in the last couple of weeks and omitted. So no injury there, just straight out. Hunter Clark being managed. I called this last week and I said that he looked very tired the last 2 weeks and he needs a rest in the VFL, and I think Caulfield coming in will balance that out. And Hunter Clark hasn't done anything wrong in his AFL career so far. He's been very good when he's been playing fully fit, and he's going to be a super exciting player in 2019 and onwards, but he's managed and will be playing Sandy this weekend. Bailey Rice is omitted, which I guess there's the concussion last week, and I thought he did well when he came back on, but he's been omitted, no injury there, straight out, and I think obviously Nathan Brown coming back in has allowed that sort of change to happen. So it'll be Brown and Carlisle back, and it hasn't happened for a while, so it's good to have those two back, particularly because you've got the likes of Toby Green and Rory Lobb in the GWS forward line, so any height there would be great. And Gilbert plays again, which Pete has obviously pointed out there. Gilbert is still in the team, he's still fighting strong, so is Mav Weller. There's a lot of these guys that you guys haven't really been happy with, those two particularly, but they stay in the team, so they must be doing something right in Richo's book. So I'm not entirely sure what, but there it is. And the last one, which is a bit of a surprise, I suppose, is David Armitage has been omitted. So I guess that's to make room for the likes of Blake Acres, and that kind of shows where Armitage sits in the pecking order. He's not one of those guys that we can't drop. No injury there. He's just straight out. It's funny because I did post this week on Saints TV that I feel like he's been kind of a decent player for us the last month. Even in some of our losses, he's been, the Port Adelaide one in particular, I think he had 30 and kicked 3. He's been a good player for us. So I posted during the week asking, is he a player that we'd want to keep in 2019? Would we want him to still be on our list, or is he trade bait, or is he just delisted, or does he retire? So there's kind of a lot of different options for Armo in the air at the moment, but we're not really sure which way it's going to go. But for this week, we know he's not playing. In terms of GWS, we might as well go through their change. They've made one change. Lachlan Keefe has come out, and Sam Taylor is back. So they're slowly getting their best team back on the park. Jeremy Cameron's obviously still out with his suspension, but they've been kind of hitting form anyway. That's kind of, we're facing them at an ominous time, in this season, in the way that it's going. They've got great players across the board. They've got, Heath Shaw, Phil Davis, Brett Delidio, Lockie Whitfield, Dylan Shield. They've got Tim Taranto, Josh Kelly, Toby Green, Callum Ward, just to name a few. So they're a very good team. They started the season quite slow. We obviously played them earlier in the season and we should have beaten them. Carlisle, where I think it was Phil Davis with the punch and we thought it was a free kick. It was a draw. Last year we played them and we beat them. So our recent history against them, they haven't beaten us since round 5 of 2016. So it's been a long time coming for them. That was a big win, and then before that they won another game in 2015, and they beat us in 2015 again twice. So it's kind of a weird rivalry there. They haven't really smashed us. We haven't really smashed them, apart from when they first started in the competition like 5 years ago. But generally they've been playing well lately. They've been winning games that they should, and they've been beating some decent teams. And yeah, I mean, the AFL website's done their preview, so we can have a chat about that. They've got their 6 points, so let's go through them. They said that the Giants led by 9 points at three-quarter time earlier this season before the Saints kicked 4 goals to 2 in the final quarter to level the scores by the final siren. Brett DeLito had 29, and that's his top tally for the club. Number 2 is GWS should have a big advantage in the clearances. They're ranked second, averaging 54.1 per game, compared to the Saints, who were last, with an average of only 51.6. Callum Ward is the Giants' best clearance player in the competition, ranked equal 5th. Number 3, the Saints and St Kilda, Giants and St Kilda have meet for the 9th time, and the Saints hold a narrow advantage, winning 4 games to 3 and 1 draw. Number 4, the Saints have played only once previously at Spotless Stadium in round 15, 2015. The Giants won by 35. Number 5, Saints, since round 11, the Giants equal best team in the competition, winning 6 of their last 7 matches and kicking 95 points per game. They've conceded just 70. In the same time, the Saints are 3 wins and 4 losses, which isn't bad considering our season. That's like all our wins have come in that 7-week period. Number 6, GWS star Toby Green has lost his position as the competition's highest-ranked small-medium forward to Hawthorn's Luke Bruce. He's now ranked 59th in the Chic AFL player ratings, 1 spot behind the Hawk. And it's a big week for ex-Giant Jack Steele. He's likely to get a job mining one of the former teammates, with Josh Kelly's likely target. And with the GWS midfield firing of late, he'll have his hands full. Prediction. What do you think, guys? What do you think the prediction is the AFL's given us? They're tipping GWS. They're tipping GWS by 29 points, which, to be fair, would be okay. I mean, I'm not overly positive about this, but you know, the way the season goes, we saw bloody Gold Coast beat Sydney in Sydney. There is no reason why we can't go there and have a decent performance. I know that last week was pretty average. We were bad from start to finish, and there wasn't much to take from the game, but we generally match up well against them. That's the weird thing, is that early in the season I thought they were going to come and smash us. They didn't. We should have won. And then last season, the same thing. I didn't get to go to the game because I was in Queensland, but we beat them, and we beat them handsomely. I mean, they were leading all game, and then Jade Gresham went berserk in the last. So did Sebros, so did Blake Acres, who's back, and we got the chocolates. I don't know. I mean, they're $1.14. We're $5.75. So their odds are very similar to what our odds were last week. And yeah, it's an interesting one, because GWS can be an amazing team, but they're mentally soft at times, and you know, they can take teams like us quite lightly, and that could open the door a little bit for us. And if we get a little bit of confidence and we actually take the game on, which we generally do against them, it's a weird thing that we take the game on against teams that take the game on, and it opens it up, and it works for us. But then we play teams that play slow, and then we turn out to play the same way. Let's go through some of your comments. I want to wrap this up pretty quickly. I don't want to, drag it on too long for you guys. But those are the teams. What do you think of the teams? Andrew said, "Why Loney again?" I don't know. I don't know. Michael says, "Just about at the end of my tether with Loney getting games, we had 4 outs and none of them were small forwards, so why bring in a small forward?" I have no idea, mate. I have no idea. Anyone else comment about Loney and why he's in? I don't know. I'm not the coach. I don't see how he would benefit our team over like a Nathan Freeman or a Ben Patton, who would offer more midfield running power. And against GWS, that's all you bloody need, is just running midfield power. Pete said, "You said during last week's game you would cut sick if Gilbert plays again. Thoughts now?" I am. I don't show it, but Hugh Goddard, I don't know what's going on, mate. You should be playing. I mean, last week Gilbert was pretty bad, but the week before he was great on Kerno, so it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for the coaches. But, you know, generally I would have made the call 5 weeks ago and I'd be playing Hugh Goddard every week. But, again, I'm not the coach. Matthew says, Weller and Gilbert must have photos of Richo, surely. Yeah, they must. I mean, Weller, week in, week out, you know, deep in the third quarter, I'm like, oh, he's playing. But I always am, I'm quite a supporter of him and I think that he can be a good player, but he just hasn't shown it enough. And if he doesn't show it this week, then it's got to be close to being dropped. Surely. Like, how much can you do? How little can you do and still get a game? A lot of people here in the comments seem to be very shocked that Armo has been dropped. I am too, actually. Josh says, good chance we will win, I reckon. How has Gilbert played 200 games for us? Worst kick in the AFL. Pete said, I would have put Armo in the forward line for Loney. Armo and Akers should have been rotated up forward. Good call. Armo played a lot of forward against Port and kicked 3, so he can do it. Grant says, understanding Saints selection is harder than understanding Westworld 2 timelines. Good comment. Gilbert's still in. Sad face. Grant says, be wrapped if we got within 29. So would I, mate. I'd be very happy with that. Pete says, do you think we keep players like Loney and Well in the side to give them trade? They must. I mean, Loney's too young to delist. And yeah, I guess it must be trade value. If I have one big game, maybe that bumps it up a couple $100,000. I'm not sure. Armo is stiff to get omitted. Sam says, I'm convinced Freeman is a myth. Yeah, he doesn't exist. He's a fake player. There's just all this hype about a player that we think is real, but he's not. And it's just to get us excited, but he's not real. Imagine that. David Elkins says, there's seriously something wrong with the coaches. They are dead set in denial. There you go, guys. It seems like a lot of people are disappointed with the players coming out. A player coming in with Loney, but in general, I think the ends are quite good. You've got Akers, you've got Caulfield, and you've got Brown. So they're 3 players that I can see playing a big part in this game. Loney, touch and go. I don't know what he offers us. Nunes is undroppable. I'm not sure why. To be fair, he's been okay up forward and he's been kicking goals. So he's been doing more than Loney, more than Mav Weller. So I wouldn't have him dropped. Those 2 are the ones that I wouldn't be playing. I'd be playing, you know, an Armo up forward like I think Grant said. And I'd obviously be playing bloody Freeman, giving him a game. But that's how it is, guys. Those are the teams. Let me know what you think of them in the comments and I'll respond when I can. And obviously, most importantly, let me know your tip. Genuinely, you know, I know the heart says Saints, but what does the head tell you? What do you think is going to happen? I'd love to hear your thoughts. The game, I think, is 4:35 p.m. It's at Spotless Stadium Saturday. I don't think it's televised. I think it'll be Fox Footy, so stay tuned for that. I'll obviously watch it. I'm not travelling. And I'll do my live review after the game, and hopefully we're talking about some sort of a positive performance. Definitely an improvement on last week. There's no way the guys can dish up what they did last week, because if they do, they'll get absolutely annihilated. So bring it, guys. Like, honestly, they've got to bring it. They've got to man up. They've got to tackle hard, take the game on. There's nothing to lose. GWS have everything to lose. Put them under a little bit of pressure, and I reckon there's a chance they'll crack. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. Please like the video, comment, share, do all that stuff. Get your Saints friends to follow the page as well. And I'll see you after the game on Saturday. See ya.